What's up, fight fans? It's your man 3K the Boss, aka Mr. Two Hands Up. You know what it is. Alright, man, so this vlog here today is just random boxing talk about the heavyweight division, and of course, you know, everybody's most beloved enigmatic figure, Anthony Joshua, everybody's most hated figure, Deontay Wilder, and everybody's most laughable, even more of a gesture-ish figure, Tyson Fury. Alright, so I'm gonna just go ahead and jump right into it. First off, I just wanted to start by saying the heavyweight division is starting to get some results. I'm not gonna say we're starting to see results right now, but due to the shakeup in the heavyweight division with Anthony Joshua and Andy Ruiz, we kind of already got some clarity as to where heavyweight boxing stands. Now, as far as everything else that's going on with the rematch, we're still not anywhere closer with the venue. And then we have Andy Ruiz saying things of this nature, basically making all types of demands and saying that don't think the match will happen in the UK. So he feels as though he has the leverage contractually. The world and anybody with sense, and even me understanding, feels as though, of course, Matchroom and DAZN have the leverage, considering it was a rematch clause, considering Andy Ruiz was a voluntary opponent. We know this, and he didn't bring any belts to the table. He didn't bring any stardom to the table. He was a fill-in. We pulled him off of the bleachers. That is a fact. Well, I can't say we, but they. But I am a big fan of Anthony Joshua, so I will always say that it is a we thing, considering the fans are who make boxing. We are the ones who bring in the ticket sales. We are the ones who fill the seats. So, as us being fans of the sport boxing, I would honestly have to ask you guys, and I would like to ask anybody that happens to randomly run across this video that I drop, if Anthony Joshua actually wins this match, we all go crazy, you know, excited that he is the two-time champion of the world. Does that make everything well in the heavyweight division? Because honestly, I don't believe it does. Because imagine this. Anthony Joshua wins it all back. We're automatically going to go back into Deontay Wilder, Tyson Fury mode. When is he going to get a crack at one of these two guys? Considering those are the guys that are most recognizable, and those are the guys that everyone wants to see. In all actuality, I believe that it doesn't. I believe that Tyson Fury has said very encodingly that there are multiple reasons why he won't fight Anthony Joshua. The opportunity has arose on several occasions. We can all think back to April. We can think back to even June. Tyson Fury wanted no part of that situation. Tyson Fury chose to fight Tom Schwartz. There was no legacy in Tom Schwartz. We all know that. Deontay Wilder had a shot at it. Deontay Wilder was offered an obscenely lucrative amount of money. He didn't take it. Why is that? It was the allure around Anthony Joshua that was saying that he was the boogeyman of the division. He was the guy that went out there and knocked out Povetkin. He was the guy that floored Klitschko when, you know, Tyson Fury made it look freaking boring, and he made it look troublesome but effortless at the same time with the uppercut knockout. Deontay Wilder chose Luis Ortiz. So regardless of Anthony Joshua's set as the unified heavyweight champion of the world, we will be blowing hot air right now to the fact that nobody wants to fight this guy, and we will be having to accept Alexander Usyk or Kubrat Pulev in between Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder because they just don't want to fight him. So, looking at the state of the heavyweight division, I'm asking you guys, because to me, it almost kind of makes you begin to ask sickening questions like, is the heavyweight division in a better state because Anthony Joshua isn't champion, or is it in a worse state because he isn't champion? Clearly, financially, it is in a worse state because he isn't champion, and clearly, for this moment right now, as we are waiting for the rematch, as the venues are being prolonged and we do not have a date yet, Soldier the Real Big Baby Miller messes up his career. He's freaking being penalized by freaking NSAC, which is the New York State Athletic Commission, and basically he has been sidelined. But now, even in all the chaos, and as I've said, the smoke has cleared. So we get a little bit more clarity. Because to be perfectly honest, it would have to be Tyson Fury. It would have to be Deontay Wilder that goes into a matchup. All of the fans have been brainwashed and hoodwinked to believe that, this is a match that needs to be cleared up. Clearly, on paper, it was a draw. Visually, we all know as unbiased American, European, Asian fans that Tyson Fury clearly won that match, and he was just robbed of the WBC belt, playing around and ended up getting knocked down on the ground twice. It's kind of swayed people's opinion, and it left open up for air. Because in Wilder's fans' mind, they're automatically going to believe that Deontay Wilder won because his fights aren't going to be based off points anyway because he has no boxing acumen. It's going to be based on his sledgehammer power. That is it. So you just left that open for interpretation in everybody's mind. It's actually okay, and at the same time, it's kind of comforting. I'm not saying that it's comforting that Anthony Joshua isn't champion, but it's comforting that we can have some other boxing matches, and I understand that we haven't got to see what is going to be able to take place. We know that Deontay Wilder is tied up with Luis Ortiz, but there is some light at the end of the tunnel. To a certain extent, because when Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder face off in February 20th of 2020, I believe that is when the date is set, February 20th or the 22nd. Don't quote me on that. When they face off, we will get some clarity in the heavyweight division. This whole three-headed monster talk, like fucking their Ghidorah, like Anthony Joshua, now Andy Ruiz, Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder are all one, like it is some Ghidorah fucking cycle going on here, like they're all Ghidorah of the fucking heavyweight division. No, that isn't the case, but still, to the allure that you are making this illusion that is what's going on, because American people, anybody that tunes in, a lot of fans are just yes men. They just believe whatever, propaganda that you're going to put out there and you're going to spill out, and anybody's going to fall for it. That is going to cease to exist. But I'm sure there will be a rematch clause in place, so we'll have to sit for that a third time. Is that necessarily a bad thing? Absolutely not. Because the world does want to see Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury square off. The first match was very exciting. It brought a different element to the heavyweight division, and sparks had to fly in the heavyweight division, opposite of just what Anthony Joshua does, because the conversation is Anthony Joshua. It's Anthony Joshua surrounded by Deontay Wilder. It's Anthony Joshua surrounded by Tyson Fury. It is Deontay Wilder piggybacking his fucking resume off of Anthony Joshua. It is Tyson Fury having to piggyback his resume off. It's Tyson Fury having to piggyback his resume off of Anthony Joshua, and and every other heavyweight that's probably in the top 5-7. It all boils back to Anthony Joshua. So the narrative needs to change a little bit. So going into the fall and winter months of this year, we have a conversation that exists with Anthony Joshua and has solely to do based on the rematch. You know what I mean? So I actually get to talk about some shit that differentiates for once. But we know that the rematch and everything that happened between the rematch is the biggest story in boxing. And why is that? Because the other fighters that are capable and can be something don't have a big enough light to where we can hear other interesting points in boxing that is going to elevate, the minds of all of the fans, and give you more to focus on and more to look at than what just Anthony Joshua has going on. Deontay Wilder is constantly surrounding just gossip girl information and talk, and everything that spews out of his mouth as of late has to be contrarily uplifting towards Anthony Joshua, because he realized that he messed up that 9-figure deal, and I'm sure he's kicking himself in the nuts for that right now. And you're going to go in, you're going to fight Tyson Fury. Yes, you're going to get a bigger purse, but let's be perfectly honest here, people, as hardcore boxing fans. We know that Deontay Wilder can't win that match unless he stays disciplined, stays poised, keeps his frustration to a minimum by that constant pestering jab that's going to stay in his face, and actually finds a way to victimize Tyson Fury and knock him out on the canvas, kind of in the fashion that he did him the first time in the 12th round, but actually be able to cement him there. As far as Dillian Whyte's concerned, we have some great news coming in his way, considering that we have a mandatory WBC heavyweight title deadline coming up. I believe it is May of 2020, May or March of 2020. Don't quote me on that, but we should get some results from him. So the conversation should be more of Oscar Rivas and Dillian Whyte. We are getting this weekend. I've talked about that fight constantly. I haven't heard of many others talking about the fight, all of the other surrounding bullshit surrounding the fight. And even though Deontay Wilder happens to be the gossip girl in the midst of that, talking about, like, you know, his 600 days, he's trying to and correlate that with jail talk, acting like he's been sitting in a cell. But 600 days is an extravagant amount of time, considering you are supposed to be fighting a mandatory a year. But Deontay Wilder doesn't do that. So all I'm saying is the narrative has to change on some levels, and we are beginning to see that happen. Now, I'm sure people are wondering, why am I saying that all of it is surrounding why Anthony Joshua? Because let's think about it here, people. Why is Dillian Whyte fighting Oscar Rivas? Because he didn't want to go in the match with Anthony Joshua, because he says he was unhappy about what he was being offered in a purse to get paid for that matchup. And I believe it's more towards the fact that if he lost to Anthony Joshua in that rematch, he would have lost his rankings across all of the major sanctioning bodies, considering that he's ranked number one in arguably almost all of them. Correct me if I'm wrong, and I'm pretty much 99.9% sure I'm right. So that opened up a great match with a guy that nobody knows about, Oscar Kaboom Rivas. So people are going to get to see him on the world stage. And the harsh reality of that match is there's a very strong chance that Dillian Whyte won't win. This is when you're really going to have to see Dillian Whyte's true skills on display, because he is with a guy who is multifaceted and very talented, and I don't see too many holes in his boxing game at the heavyweight division. The only gripe against Kaboom is he's a little bit smaller, but he's faster. And all of this is surrounded by Anthony Joshua. So even while we're preoccupied with all of this nonsense, all of it surrounding the WBC, Mauricio Suleiman and Al Heyman, we have some clarity there. Finally, so Anthony Joshua's loss has brought us clarity in so many different ways that we didn't know. Because we already knew that Deontay Wilder, his camp, Tyson Fury and their camp, they were going to bullshit Anthony Joshua till fucking year's end and beyond anyway. So the only real viable, realistic option was Deontay Wilder. So now we have clarity. So not Deontay Wilder's lies, but out of Tyson Fury's mouth, and even the top-ranked Don, Bob Arum was even saying that he wanted to get a Deontay Wilder match as soon as possible. So now we're getting that. We're going to be able to close that chapter. We'll get to close the Andy Ruiz, Anthony Joshua chapter. If Anthony Joshua comes out victorious, I wouldn't hold my breath, fans, because we wouldn't see Anthony Joshua versus Tyson Fury or Deontay Wilder coming up soon anyway. We'd probably be getting Anthony Joshua versus Alexander Usyk. We probably be getting Anthony Joshua versus Kubrat Pulev. We're going to get a lot of Anthony Joshua mandatories. But in the meantime, in that Anthony Joshua time, he should face some mediocre opponents like a Trevor Bryant, or even, like a guy like a Manuel Char, guys like this that'll just give him some work so he can fine-tune some things. And then that way, when the matches do begin to present themselves, he'll be able to jump in there. But just continuously keep himself in the public eye, keep his profile boosted, and stay active. Because Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury are going to be tied up for some months. Dillian Whyte will be available, but will he want to take that fight? Absolutely not, with him constantly trying to pull that mandatory because he sees Deontay Wilder as easier work. So for what is the heavyweight division right now, and no matter how confusing it may seem, and no matter how redundant the topics may seem, or no matter what's going on, it still is the biggest, most beautiful, most ugly, most hard-hitting division all in the entire sport. And in those surrounding areas, we also have great fights to blend in, and there are also other great up-and-coming heavyweights, like Tony Yoka, F.A. Ajagba, Daniel Dubois, who's just coming off of a spectacular freaking knockout of Nathaniel Gorman. Watching Joe Joyce, who's only been fighting for 2 years and only has basically like 10 fights under his belt, and he already has a Brian Jennings under his record. He still needs to fine-tune some things, but he's getting better as the time goes on. The division is absolutely moving along, and then we've got guys like Hergovich, you know what I'm saying, stepping up. And we've got Gassiev. So the heavyweight division is going to constantly be revolving and rotating, but it's going to take us, and it's going to take multiple people to speak on all of those other guys and to just, be more accepting to the fact that they're going to continue to run from Anthony Joshua. Those matches aren't realistic, but look at the realistic options that are available. This man will be a 2-time champ again. And as we always say, it costs you nothing to pay a nigga no mind. But in that time, we have AJ versus Ruiz 2. We have Dillian Whyte versus Oscar Rivas this weekend. And I'm telling y'all, that's the best fight to me this year. We still have Deontay Wilder with Luis Ortiz. Regardless of whether you hate on it, it's still coming up. You've got Tyson Fury 2. Deontay Wilder coming in February, with also a potential Big Baby Miller if he can get over his hurdles with Insac, and Tyson Fury, or another opponent that is going to have to be credible on some levels. Like we've got Gassiev, we've got Kubrat Pulev in his line to fight for the titles. If Anthony Joshua wins it back, that's possibly who he's going to be. I mean, not Kubrat Pulev, but Alexander Usyk. That's probably who he's going to be fighting next as a mandatory. So it's some interesting shakeups in the heavyweight division. I'm just glad that even through Anthony Joshua's loss, we are starting to get some clarity. But the thing is, don't expect Anthony Joshua to automatically get the fight you're looking for now, because it's not going to happen. They don't want it to happen that way. I know this was a long video, but I'm tired of reading news clips, and I feel like I want to speak more from the heart, being on point with my knowledge, and still pointing out what is going on today in the boxing world. As always, respect.